It was a cold, rainy night. The sky was dark, and the roads were almost empty. John was driving home after a long day at work. His old car made small sounds as it moved through the wet road. He was tired, and all he wanted was to reach home and sleep. As he turned into a quiet street, he saw something strange. A small figure was standing near the side of the road. At first, he thought it was just a child. But as he drove closer, he realized the girl wasn't normal. She was standing alone in the rain. No umbrella, no jacket, just a thin, torn dress. Her long black hair was stuck to her face. But the most shocking thing were her eyes. They glowed faint blue in the dark. John stopped the car and lowered the window. "Are you okay?" he asked. The girl looked at him, her lips trembling. She took one step forward and said in a soft, almost robotic voice, "My mom can clean, cook, and obey. Please, human, just give us shelter." John blinked. Did she just say, obey? He got out of the car slowly. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "I don't have one," she replied. He looked around. No one was there, no house nearby. Number. Parent in sight. He couldn't leave her alone. Something inside him, maybe guilt, maybe curiosity, made him open the car door. "Come in. I'll take you somewhere safe," he said. She climbed into the car quietly, her small hands holding a strange glowing object. It looked like a toy, but it buzzed softly in her hand. John started driving. "Where's your mom?" he asked. The girl pointed forward. "She's hiding, just there, behind those trees. She's scared." They stopped near a small forest. The rain was still falling. From between the trees, a tall woman stepped out. She looked human. But something wasn't right. Her skin was too smooth, her movements too perfect. "Mom," the girl said. Running to her, the woman knelt down and hugged her. For a second, John saw something he couldn't understand. When they touched, both of them glowed faintly. A soft hum filled the air, like a machine turning on. John took a step back. What are you?" The woman looked at him. Her eyes were dark but kind. "We mean no harm," she said. "We just want to stay hidden, just a place to rest. We can help around the house. Will not be a problem." John didn't know what to say. Was this real? Were they aliens? But the girl looked up at him with hope. She was just a child, lost and scared. And her mother, even if not human, didn't look dangerous. He sighed. "Come with me. My house isn't far." They sat in the car, silent the whole way. When they reached John's house, a small, quiet place near the woods, he gave them towels and some old clothes. The girl smiled as she touched the soft fabric. It was clear she had never felt something so warm before. John watched them closely. They were polite, quiet, almost too perfect. The mother cleaned the dishes without being asked. The girl folded clothes carefully, learning by just watching. At night, as John was locking the door, the girl came to him. "You saved us," she said. He nodded slowly. "But who are you running from?" The girl's smile faded. She looked around, then whispered, "If they find us, they'll take us back. Back to the ship, back to the cold room. Please don't tell anyone." John's heart beat faster. This was bigger than he thought. But something told him he couldn't send them away. He closed the door. "You can stay, for now." The girl gave a small nod, then quietly walked back to her mom. John stood near the window, staring at the rain outside. In his small, lonely house, he had just let in two strangers. Two beings not from this world. And for the first time in years, it didn't feel lonely anymore. Fade to black. John had always lived alone. For years, silence filled his home like a heavy fog. But now that silence was broken, not by loud noise, but by something stranger. By sunrise, the girl and her mother had already cleaned the living room, folded all the clothes, and even fixed a broken lamp without using tools. John noticed At first, when the mother placed her hand near the lamp's broken wire, a soft blue light came from her palm, and the lamp flickered back to life. He froze. "What was that?" he asked. The mother looked at him calmly. "We don't use tools. Our bodies can repair, can shape, can learn." John had no words. This wasn't just alien. This was something far ahead of humans. Later that morning, the girl was sitting near the window, watching birds fly. John brought her a plate of food. "What do you eat?" he asked. The girl touched the food gently. "We can eat this. We adapt fast." She took a bite. Her face lit up, surprised. "Warm, sweet," she whispered. John smiled. It was strange, but something about the girl made him feel protective, like she had never known safety before. That evening, strange things started happening. First, all the lights in the house blinked at the same time. Then John's phone screen cracked on its own. He looked at the mother. "Is this you?" She shook her head. "Not me, not her." The girl stood up, afraid. "They're looking for us." John felt a chill in his spine. "Who?" she whispered. "The trackers." The mother spoke next, her voice low and serious. "Our kind. We were made, not born, created for work, for service. But some of us wanted more. We escaped." John stepped back. "You mean you were slaves?" The mother nodded. "Yes, not just to humans. To something worse." The girl held John's hand tightly. "They put my mom in a cold room. No light, no time. I freed her. We ran." John looked at her glowing eyes and saw no lie, only fear. "But now they're near," the mother said. "They follow our energy. They will come." That night, John couldn't sleep. He checked the windows, locked the doors twice, but part of him didn't want them to leave. The girl had started calling him Mr. John. She laughed softly when he joked. She drew small pictures with crayons on paper. Her drawings showed tall metal buildings, dark rooms, and stars above them. One drawing had a symbol, like a circle with 3 lines. John pointed to it. "What's this?" She paused. "The sign of the makers. If they find us, we disappear." Then it happened. At midnight, John woke up to a soft sound, a hum, like something charging. He walked into the living room and stopped. The girl was floating, just a little above the ground. Her eyes were closed, her body surrounded by a soft blue light. Her mother was watching silently. "She's changing," the mother said. "Faster than me. She's part of your world now." John stared in awe. "Is it safe?" "She doesn't know her power yet," the mother replied. "But if the trackers feel this light, they will arrive." As the light faded, the girl slowly came back down, like a leaf falling from a tree. She opened her eyes, tired but calm. "Did I float?" she asked softly. John smiled. "You sure did." She laughed, the first real laugh since she arrived. But behind her mother's eyes, John saw worry. Deep worry. Cliffhanger, end scene. The next morning, John found something outside his front door, a small silver disc. Blinking red, he picked it up. The girl saw it, and her face turned pale. No, no, she said, backing away. "They've marked this place." John looked at her. "What happens now?" The mother stepped forward, her voice calm but heavy. "Now we fight, or we run again." Fade to black. It was early morning. The sky was gray, and clouds moved slowly like watchers in the sky. John sat at the kitchen table, staring at the silver disc they had found on his doorstep. It was still blinking red, slow, steady, almost like a heartbeat. The girl stood quietly beside him, holding her drawing paper tightly. "What is this thing?" John asked. The mother, standing by the window, replied softly, "It's a tracker. Beacon. Once placed, it sends a signal every second. Every breath. The makers now know where we are." John frowned. "Can we shut it down?" She shook her head. "We can only move. Or hide deep." The girl looked up at John. You said we could stay. I did, he said. And I meant it. But deep down he knew something dangerous was coming. Later that day, something even stranger happened. John's house phone, which hadn't rung in years, suddenly made a sound. He picked it up. No number, just silence. Then, a voice, human. You are harboring stolen property. Prepare for correction. The line went dead. John's hands went cold. They're watching us, he said. That night, the wind outside grew stronger. The girl couldn't sleep. She sat by the window, watching the woods. Suddenly, she gasped. Someone's out there. John rushed over. In the distance, under the trees, a shape moved, tall, slow, and shining slightly. It's not a tracker, the mother said after a pause. It's something else. John grabbed the flashlight and stepped outside. The wind pushed against him, and the woods felt colder than usual. As he reached the edge of the trees, the shape stepped forward. It was a man, or something that looked like a man. His skin was pale gray. His eyes were golden. He wore a dark cloak and spoke without moving his lips. I am not your enemy, human. John raised the flashlight. Who are you? I'm what they fear, the man said calmly. I escaped the makers just like her. He pointed toward the house. I came to warn you. The trackers will arrive in 3 rotations, your time about 3 days. Back inside, the visitor sat with them. The girl stayed behind her mother, nervous. He looked at her gently. She is important. You don't know it yet, but she's not like the others. John frowned. What do you mean? She was born during the split, when the energy grid of the maker ship failed. Children born then are different. The mother looked surprised. I didn't know, the man nodded. They have power even the makers can't control. That's why they hunt them. John stood up. Then we fight, the man smiled. You're brave. But if you choose to protect her, your life will change. Your home, your world. Nothing will stay normal. John looked at the girl, who was now quietly drawing again. He nodded. Maybe normal was never good enough. Before the man left, he handed John a small crystal-like stone. This is an echo stone. If you break it, I will hear you. Then, he disappeared into the woods, fading into shadows like smoke. Later that night, the girl showed John her new drawing. It was of him, standing in front of a huge dark ship, holding the echo stone in one hand, and her hand in the other. You drew me? He asked. She nodded. I saw it in my dream. You were not afraid. John stared at the picture. The ship looked like it came from another world, silent, deadly, but not empty. He took a deep breath. If it comes to that, I won't be. Cliffhanger, end scene. The next morning, the blinking disc stopped suddenly. The girl looked up, eyes wide. That means they've locked in. John looked out the window. Far, far in the sky. A small dark shape moved behind the clouds. A ship, watching. Waiting. Fade to black. The sky had changed. It wasn't just clouds anymore. It was heavy, like it knew something was about to happen. John stood outside, staring up. Behind the clouds, the dark shape of the alien ship was now clearer. It was slowly moving, not fast, not loud, but with purpose. Like a shadow crawling across the sky. They're close now, the mother said, stepping beside him. John didn't answer. He was thinking about something he hadn't told them, something buried in his past. Back inside, the girl sat on the living room floor, surrounded by papers. She was drawing again, but this time her hands were shaking. Each drawing showed the same thing, a large black ship. And fire. They're coming for me, she whispered. Her voice sounded different, like it echoed, as if someone else was speaking through her. The mother rushed over and held her tightly. It's starting, she said. Her connection to the makers. It's waking. John knelt down. Can she stop it? She doesn't know how, the mother said. And if she tries too soon, it could destroy her. Suddenly, the lights in the house flickered. The TV turned on by itself. The screen was black, but a voice came through. "Human, return the unit, or we will take her by force." The girl screamed, not in fear, but in pain. Something inside her was reacting. Her eyes glowed bright blue. The floor under her cracked slightly. The drawings on the table burned at the edges without fire. John picked her up and held her close. "It's okay, you're safe here." But the house was shaking now. Then came the knock. Not on the door, but on the air. A loud vibration, as if reality itself had been hit. The mother looked at John. "They're breaking through. They're trying to bend the space around your home." John stood up. "We need to leave." The mother shook her head. "If we leave now, they'll chase us in the open. Here, we still have cover, and maybe you have more to give than you know." John looked confused. "What do you mean?" The mother stepped closer, looking into his eyes. "You've been alone too long, John, but loneliness leaves marks. Your mind has been touched." She placed her fingers gently on his temple. Images flooded his brain. Metal walls, red lights, cold air. John stepped back, shaking. "No, I don't remember that. You were taken once," she said. "A long time ago, just for a few hours. But they saw something in you." John was silent. His heartbeat grew louder in his ears. "Why would they take me?" "Because you were quiet, invisible to others. And your mind could hold things, secrets, maps, codes. They used you once, without your knowledge. But it left a key inside. You." "A key to what?" John whispered. "To them," she said. "You're not just helping her. You're connected to her. More than you know." Outside, the sky cracked. Not lightning, something else. A white tear appeared in the clouds. Like a portal opening. The ship above was no longer hiding. It was huge, dark, silent. The girl stood up, her eyes glowing again. "They are here," she said. "And they won't knock next time." John grabbed the echo stone the visitor had given him. He looked at it for a long second, then slammed it on the ground. It shattered. Nothing happened. Then, a low hum. The wind outside stopped. Everything paused. And then, the same cloaked man from before appeared inside the house, standing beside the fireplace. "You called," he said. "We're out of time," John said. The man looked at the girl. "She has begun to awaken." He turned to John. "But so have you." John looked confused. "What does that mean?" "You are not just a protector now," the man said. "You are the link. If they take you, they take her." John's chest felt heavy. He finally understood. This wasn't just about hiding her anymore. This was war. Cliffhanger. End scene. The ship above opened a hatch. A long beam of red light shot down into the forest near the house. Trees burned silently. The voice returned. Louder, sharper, mechanical. "Last warning. Hand over the girl, or we erase everything." John stood in the doorway. He looked at the girl. And for the first time, she wasn't scared. She nodded. "I'm ready." Fade to black. The red light from the ship above was like a sword in the sky, cutting through the forest, setting trees on fire without flame. John stood at the door of his house. His heart pounded. The girl stood behind him, her glowing eyes locked on the burning woods. Then she stepped forward. "I can feel them," she said. "I can hear their thoughts." John turned to her. "What are they saying?" "They don't want to fight," she said slowly. "They want control. They want me, because I'm different." The cloaked man stepped into the light. "She's right. They don't fear weapons. They fear her." The ground shook. A sound like metal grinding against metal filled the air. And then they came. 3 tall figures landed near the edge of the trees. Their bodies were silver and black, with long arms and empty, glassy faces. Trackers, they didn't Walk. They hovered just above the ground. The girl stepped forward again, her hands glowing faintly. John reached out to stop her, but the cloaked man stopped him. Let her. One of the trackers moved closer. It spoke without a mouth. Its voice echoed in the wind. Return. Or witness deletion. The girl tilted her head, listening, not just to the words, but to the signal. They don't understand. What I've become, she whispered. Then. She closed her eyes. The wind around her stopped. The grass beneath her feet turned blue. And then, with a soft pulse of light, she lifted off the ground, only a few inches. But it was enough. The nearest tracker raised its arm. But before it could react, the girl raised her hand and the tracker froze. Its metal body turned gray, cold, then cracked like stone, and shattered into pieces. John gasped. The cloaked man smiled. Her mind, it's reaching full form. She doesn't just escape energy, she bends it. The other two trackers stepped back, for the first time unsure. The girl floated down slowly. Her glow faded. She fell to one knee, tired. She's not ready to fight all of them, the mother said. Not yet. The cloaked man nodded. Then we buy time. Back inside, the group planned. The cloaked man placed a circular device on the table. A map of the area appeared, with a blinking red dot showing the ship's current position. They're bringing more, he said. But you still have a chance. John looked at the map. To do what? To destroy the signal hub. That red beam in the forest, it's their eye. Break it, and they'll lose connection, the mother spoke. But it's protected, shielded. It's not a normal machine. The man turned to John. That's why we need him. John raised an eyebrow. Me? I don't even understand half of this. But your mind does, the man said. The makers used you long ago. Buried something in you, codes, paths, backdoors. You can get through the shield. John sat back, silent. The girl came over and placed her hand on his. You helped me, she said. Now let me help you. They moved quickly. The forest was still glowing red, but the light beam had shifted slightly, as if searching. The three of them, John, the girl, and the cloaked man, reached the edge of the burn zone. The trees here looked melted, as if touched by time, not fire. The signal tower was small, like a floating crystal above the ground, guarded by two new trackers. The girl whispered, "They don't see us yet." John stepped forward. His heart raced. The cloaked man handed him a small black cube. Place this near the base. Your presence will unlock the field. No one else can get through it. John moved slowly, carefully. The cube in his hand grew warm, recognizing him. He placed it down. The red light blinked, once, twice, then stopped. The girl's eyes widened. They lost connection. Suddenly, the trackers turned, confused. Their heads twitched. Their bodies flickered. One of them fell to the ground, as if powered down. The other turned and ran back into the woods. Cliffhanger. End scene. Just as they were about to return, the cloaked man froze. Something's wrong. He looked up at the sky. Another ship was coming, not from above. From below. The earth behind them cracked, and a second underground vessel broke the forest floor open. It was larger, older, black as night. The cloaked man whispered, "That's not the makers, that's their creators." John turned to the girl. She was already looking at him, and in her eyes was something new. Fear. Fade to black. The ground behind them shook violently. Trees collapsed. The air grew colder, even though there was no wind. From the broken earth rose a ship, black, silent, and older than anything John had ever seen. The cloaked man stepped back. That ship. It's not from the makers, he said. It's from before them. John stared at the massive structure. It didn't hover like the other ships. It hung in the air like it had roots pulling from below, heavy, ancient, alive. The girl clutched John's arm. I know this ship, she whispered. The mother looked at her. But how? You've never seen it. I don't remember seeing it, the girl said. I remember being inside it. A low sound rang through the forest, not loud, but deep. Like a voice coming from inside the earth. Then came a message. Not through the air, not through speakers, directly into their minds. Return the source, child. She carries the code. She carries the fault. John stumbled, holding his head. What are they talking about? The cloaked man's voice was grave. They're not just after her powers. They want to erase her. They fear what she might unlock. Inside the strange ship, lights flickered from under the surface, like glowing veins. Strange figures began to emerge, not metal like the trackers, not human like John. They were tall, wrapped in dark glass-like armor, and they didn't speak with mouths. One of them pointed toward the girl. She's not just different, the cloaked man said. She was made by two codes, Maker and something else. The originals. John turned to the mother. You never told me she was part of them. The mother looked down. Because I didn't know. She was born on the run. Born during a systems blackout. But they must have inserted something. Something from before even the Makers. The girl stepped forward. I can feel it inside me, she said. Something is waking up. She closed her eyes. The world went quiet. Then, around her body, the air bent. Leaves lifted into the air. Time seemed slower. And in her mind, a voice spoke. Not from the originals, not from the Makers. You are more than code. You are the spark, remember. She opened her eyes. They were no longer just blue. They were white, glowing like stars. John stepped back. The girl looked at him and spoke in a voice that was layered, as if many spoke at once. They didn't create me. They only found me. Everyone froze. The original stopped moving. Even the cloaked man looked stunned. John stepped forward. What does that mean? The girl's voice returned to normal. I don't know, she said softly. But I think. I'm not just from them. I'm older than them. Suddenly, one of the originals took a step forward. He didn't attack. Instead, he knelt, bowed, and said only one word, directly into everyone's mind. Return. The cloaked man whispered, they don't want to destroy her anymore. They want to follow her. The mother shook her head. That can't be. They never bow. They do now, John said, staring at the girl. Because she's not just a child. She's something they lost. Long ago. Back at the house, alarms started ringing from the broken ship above. The trackers were panicking. The red beam shut off. The power grid collapsed. The cloaked man smiled. Their system is failing. The originals have overridden it. John looked up at the ancient ship still hovering above the cracked earth. But if she joins them, he said, what happens to her? What happens to us? The girl walked to him, took his hand. I don't want to leave, she said. Not without you. Cliffhanger, end scene. Suddenly, the ground split again, not from the ship, but from beneath the house. Something rose from under John's land, a small glowing structure. Hidden deep for years. The cloaked man stared. That's not theirs, he said. He turned to John. That's connected to you. John stepped forward, heart racing. The girl whispered, John, what are you? And for the first time, he didn't know. Fade to black. The land beneath John's house had split wide open. From it rose a small glowing structure, not metal, not stone, but something alive. It pulsed with soft light, humming like a heartbeat. Ancient lines covered its surface, and at the center was a circle. The same symbol the girl had once drawn in her notebook. The cloaked man stared at it in silence. That is not alien, he whispered. That is seed tech, human-made, very, very old. John stepped toward it, confused. How could it be under my house? The girl looked at him, her glowing eyes flickering. Because you were never just a protector. She pointed at the structure. You were the lock. Suddenly, the small structure opened. Light poured out, and from within rose a projection. A woman, not real, but clear, dressed in white, her voice calm and gentle. Project Arcfire. Backup initiated. Welcome, Unit J9. Confirm identity. John stumbled back. What is this? The cloaked man looked at him. You're not just a survivor. You're a carrier. They put the final code inside you. Long ago. The projection continued. In the year 2094, before the fall of the first colonies, genetic carriers were seeded across Earth. You are one of them. The last vault, hidden beneath civilian housing. Status: active. Code: Source Protocol. John shook his head. I never asked for this. The girl placed her hand in his. You were chosen. Like me, we're not the same, but we were both made for a reason. Then, the sky turned dark again. The ancient original ship had stopped moving. From it, a voice filled the air. We see the source. We see the lock. The final code is ready. The trackers had vanished. The makers had gone silent. Now, only two beings mattered. Her, the key to creation. And John, the lock to what comes next. The projection spoke again. You now have a choice. Merge and reboot the grid. Or walk away and let the systems collapse. Rebooting will give life, but it will erase your own. The girl looked up at him, eyes wide. Does that mean you die? John took a breath. I don't know. But I know this: if I do nothing, they'll come for you forever. The cloaked man stepped forward. John, if you activate the code, she becomes more than what they fear. She becomes what they follow. You reset the rules. The mother, silent for long, finally spoke. John, she deserves to live free. Not hunted. If you can give her that, then maybe your life meant more than pain. John walked toward the core. His chest burned. His mind echoed with voices, codes, maps, numbers that made no sense, yet somehow felt right. He placed his hand on the center ring. The girl reached out. Her fingers touched his. Massive shockwave exploded across the forest, but it wasn't heat. It was clarity. The sky cleared. The ships above, original, maker, tracker, all stopped. And then one by one, they powered down. Lights blinked out. Weapons vanished. Silence fell. Inside the light, John stood frozen. The projection voice returned. Final code accepted. Source and lock combined. System reset. Grid peaceful mode activated. John looked at the girl. You're free now. Tears rolled down her glowing cheeks. But what about you? He smiled softly. I think I was always meant to go back into the system. But now, I go knowing you made it out. Then, he was gone. Not in pain, not in fire, but in light. Like stars returning to space. Epilogue: 1 year later, a peaceful Earth. No ships in the sky. No red lights. No more tracking. The girl lived with her mother in a quiet village. She went to school. She smiled more. She laughed. But at night, when she drew, she still sketched him. John, the man who gave her more than protection. He gave her a future. One night, she saw a flicker in the stars. A small light, blinking, almost like a heartbeat. She smiled. Hi, John. Fade to white.